Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
It just goes to show you how special this guy is, and I can't figure out why he doesn't cut through like the Tiger Woods of the world in that kind of dominant fashion in years past.
He stepped up to the tee box on the 14th hole, and he was 60-1 to win that golf tournament. You know, he was trailing by 6 shots, and he comes out on top.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, the pits, the players, the hustlers, the people, the bustler, but everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. The Twisted Tuesday has begun. It's kind of the calm before the storm once again. There was so much anticipation about the National Football League coming back. We've kind of been football only, but midweek, we've got baseball. That is until we start having Tuesday night college football games, and that's going to be lit. But there's a lot of stuff coming, man. Hard to believe we're now just 24 days away from the start of the National Hockey League regular season, which means the NBA is coming up as well. But speaking of coming up, we got first pitch from Chavez Ravine Dodger Stadium in a couple of minutes. It's an all-Japanese pitching matchup tonight. Imanaga versus Yamamoto go head-to-head. Yamamoto returns from the injured list for the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's his first start in a long time, and he is on a pitch count. All right, he pitched like 51 pitches, and he never topped 60 pitches in his rehab. And Los Angeles Dodger manager Dave Roberts was pretty open about him. They're aiming for about 50, in that ballpark, 50 pitches, 50 in between 50 and 60 pitches tonight for Yamamoto. The total is 8 in this game. Imanaga is a badass, all right? These Japanese, listen, Japan, they play good baseball in Japan. They play elite baseball in Japan. You'll notice pretty much every Japanese player that comes over and signs in the big leagues is good. And Japan is starting to get tired of losing all their top players, actually. So they're trying to enforce stricter rules to leave, and they've got controversy going on in Japan. But, the World Baseball Classic, I'm a big fan of the WBC, and we generally always bet on Japan to win. And I think they've won 3 to 5 of them. I think there's been 5 of them. They've won 3. The USA won once. The USA might have won twice, actually. I think the USA won twice. They won like a couple of tournaments ago, and they won the first one. I think they won the first. So I think the USA has won twice. Anyways, Japan has won more than anyone else. That whole like World Series champions. You're not World Series champions. Play the Japanese champ. Will you beat them? Maybe, probably, but let's see. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Like, there's a lot of debate about that, about like world champions and stuff. Let's be real. Like an NBA team, the Boston Celtics would beat the EuroLeague champion. It wouldn't be, they wouldn't beat them by 40 every night or anything like that, but they would beat them. I know, like, we're world champion things upsets people. So, Noah Lyles the track and field, track and fielder, Noah Lyles brought it up. NHL hockey, same thing. Like, the Stanley Cup champion would beat the Swedish champion, but, let's see it happen. Let's see it play out. But baseball is the one that would be the most legitimately competitive, right? Like the World Series champions play against the Japanese League champions. It'll be like a 7-game series. It will not be easy for like either team, right? Japan would have problems with the American power, the Major League Baseball power that players have. Yet Major League Baseball teams would have a serious problem dealing with their fundamental skills, right? You know what I mean? Like Japanese players can lay a bunt down the third baseline. Major League Baseball players can't field bunts anymore. Right, that's what happens in the WBC. They play the game the right way, and it adds up. It would be fun to see, actually, but in the modern day and age, nobody wants to play anybody, and we might get hurt. We might get hurt. I grew up when I was in Montreal when I was a kid. It was pretty crazy. Like the Montreal Canadiens won 6 Stanley Cups in 10 years in the 70s. All right, like they were the complete dynasty, and every New Year's Eve they would play the team from Russia. They would play the Red Army. They would play Moscow Dynamo. They would play the Russian national team. And it was like a tradition. And, of course, some say it was the greatest hockey game ever played. And in fact, it's called the greatest game ever played. The Russians versus the Montreal Canadiens played to a 2-2 tie. And everybody who's played, like I said, hockey historians basically generally call it the greatest game ever played. It was lit. It was cool stuff. All right, so speaking of cool stuff, we got a full house on the program tonight. Andrew McKinnis will step up, and then we might even talk a little pucks now that we're 24 days away from the start of the National Hockey League regular season. They're opening up in the Czech Republic on October the 4th this year. Then October the 8th, the games start in North America. And don't forget, Utah has a hockey team now. I can't wait to go watch a game in Utah. All right, no, that's right. No, that's not true. That's not true. Beautiful place. I think I'll watch on TV. Thanks. The Ranger Red Cam Stewart steps up, and then we got our boy Edge McKinnis. McKinnis, obviously a big-time hockey handicapper, but he's also a big-time Green Bay Packer fan. And the carpet has kind of been pulled out from underneath the Packers after one game this year. Although word on the street is that Jordan Love will not be out that long. He's not playing this week against the Indianapolis Colts, but they think he might be back for week 3. I know there's reports 3 to 6 weeks, but I think it could end up just being sort of like 2 weeks for Jordan Love. They dodged a bullet. Loud Esmond's going to step up and kick it with us tonight. Loud was with us last week. We enjoyed the college football conversation. We've got rivalry week early this year in college football. Like you got the Civil War. That's right. We got some pretty cool games this week. When I first looked at the college football card, I was kind of underwhelmed, right? I was like, really? Already? Like, come on. I thought in this new conference realignment, we were going to have heavyweight matchups every weekend now. And I looked at it, and I'm like, I'm kind of underwhelmed about this. What, Georgia, Kentucky? Put it this way, like college game days going to the South Carolina LSU game. So it's like, really? That's what we got going on here? Right? But you've got some nice rivalry games. The Apple Cup, Washington and Washington State play this weekend. The Civil War. I don't think they call it the Civil War anymore. They're not allowed to. But you got the Ducks and the Beavers playing, which is still pretty cool that these teams are keeping this thing going, even though they're not in the same conferences anymore. We've got Colorado and Colorado State as well. Deion Sanders denies that the Colorado band is not allowed to play the fight song. They have to play Shedeur Sanders' single. And it turns out that a little bit of both are true in the sense that they still play the Colorado fight song, but if Shedeur Sanders scores a touchdown, so it's sort of misinterpreted a little bit, but if Shedeur Sanders scores a touchdown, they play his rap song first and, for a couple of seconds, and then they go into the fight song. But the University of Colorado, they're getting tired of, like, the daily reports and stuff about them, but that's what's going to happen when you hire Deion Sanders. But Colorado is saying that, they do the same damn thing for all players, which they actually had proof of, in which they said, same as, like, watch the North Dakota State game. Like, I don't know what everyone's talking about in that. Even, like, the kicker they tell the players, like, if you score a touchdown or whatever, what's your favorite song? So they actually, like, when the kicker makes a kick, they actually don't play the fight song right away either. It just is what it is. But it also shows how the media are all over Deion Sanders right now. And this is a big game for them against Colorado State. If you remember last year, there was a lot of bad blood. The coach of Colorado State said Deion Sanders wasn't brought up properly, and Deion didn't take to that very well. And there was all this talk about how Colorado, we're going to murder you guys, and turned out to be a classic, really, really close football game. I don't think Colorado State are as good this year as they were last year, though. But we'll get into that football game a little bit. The Buffalo Bills, bad news for the Bills, all right? The Bills secondary was already very shaky against the Arizona Cardinals in week 1. Yeah, the Buffalo Bills won the football game, but the fact of the matter was Kyler Murray picked them apart in the first half. The defensive line, Gregory Rousseau played really, really good for the Buffalo Bills, all right? The D-line stepped up. There was even a Von Miller sighting. So the defensive line up front of the Bills did a good job getting to Kyler Murray, and he's not easy to catch, Kyler Murray. So they did a good job, the D-line, but the secondary's taken a hit through injury and departure already, and now Taron Johnson is injured for the Buffalo Bills and will not play on Thursday night against the Miami Dolphins. A lot of football to break down. Let's do this thing. This is Sports Rage. Bring it.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
The Twisted Tuesday. This is Sports Rage. I am Morency. The Pips, the Players, the Hustlers, the people who bust them, and everybody else in between. The Los Angeles Dodgers and the Chicago Cubs in action tonight. Should be a fun pitching matchup. Yamamoto makes his return this evening, so I bet Yamamoto under 4.5 strikeouts. I don't generally like betting against my Dodgers, but whatever, not betting against the team. I took under 4.5 strikeouts only because I know he's on a 50-pitch pitch count. So is he going to strike out 5 batters? He's looked good. He's looking good early here. He's throwing heat. 91-mile-an-hour pitch for Yamamoto. And Imanaga goes for the Cubs, who's a great pitcher. Imanaga had like 7 shutout innings, no hit, whatever, like his last start. And he pitched against the Dodgers earlier in the year, and he also pitched, I think it was like 4 or 5 shutout innings against the Dodgers. So, like I said earlier off the top, man, these Japanese pitchers are good, man. Yeah, Imanaga's a badass. Yamamoto's a badass. The total is 8, even though the Dodgers are going to be going to the pen. So I took the under 8, under Yamamoto, 4.5 strikeouts. And I don't think I got my Dodger bet in, actually. I'm going to take the Dodgers, though, as they were minus 155. Let's see what it is in game. Right now, the Dodgers are currently...
You got 75?
God, a couple of pitches, and it's 185. Hasn't even gotten anybody out yet. I lost 30 cents on this thing. I need to throw a couple of balls. It'll come down 20 cents again. Let's bring in Cam Stewart and Andrew McInnes. Cam, any action for you on this Cubs and Dodgers game?
Yeah, we're reading each other's mail. I have the under in the game. Also a parlay with Arizona. And I couldn't believe the Connecticut Sun in Arizona was only minus 127. I thought it was a mistake. I thought it'd be like around $1.50 because they were like minus 11.5 in that game. So I clicked it. I could be a sucker. Sparks are up 13-10. We just started the game. Maybe some live betting opportunities in WNBA, but I'm on the Dodgers under as well. Morency, I'm expecting good pitching.
So Yamamoto just got out of the inning. No hits allowed. Andrew McInnes, good to see you, Andrew. Any late night baseball for you this evening?
What's up, guys? Good to see you both. I'm on the under. And I'll tell you what, guys. I'm always scared to take an under involving the Dodgers. I mean, you are absolutely never sure of a winner when you have an under in the Dodgers. But, yeah, I'm hoping for a good pitching performance here tonight, guys. And cashed a ticket with the Blue Jays earlier, so that was kind of nice. And I usually just bet team totals with them, but I actually took the money line, and they came through for me. So let's end things off with a good winner here on the under.
I've been so just obsessed with football over the last, 2 weeks since college football came back, even 3 weeks. I was at the Kickoff Classic and then into week 1 and week 2. So I was sort of startled. Full disclosure, I haven't looked at the baseball standings in 4 or 5 days type of deal. I mean, I'm paying attention to the games. I actually did like the Jays tonight as well. Teams that are playing loose, down the stretch. But, looking at the standings right now, there's still, it's going to be a very, very competitive final couple of weeks of play here, Cam. And I think the biggest surprise, if you ask the casual baseball fan who's paying attention to football right now, what do you think about the Detroit Tigers? They'd say the Tigers suck. And it's a surprise. If you look right now, the Detroit Tigers, guys, are 3 games out of a wild card spot. They're actually right there in the mix. And as crazy as it is, the Seattle Mariners season has been such a roller coaster. They're still in the mix right now. But the Detroit, think about that, guys. The Kansas City Royals, Minnesota Twins, and Detroit Tigers, a division that we all talk about being so bad. Those are 3 teams competing for a wild card right now, Cam.
Great point. And the Kansas City Royals, too, you thought they might go for a swoon, but they came back with a big shutout win against the Yankees tonight. So they're still 3 games back. Baltimore's got the wild card lead. But you said it, Gabe. Detroit 3 back, Mariners 3.5, and even Boston at 4. I think the Rays at 6. That's too far back. Too many teams to jump. But I would say those 3 teams have a chance if somebody gags. But very impressed that the Royals have been able to hold on. Not playing their best baseball, but a big win tonight to stay in the 2-hole in the wild card race.
The National League, not as dramatic. You got San Diego's up a 2 spot in the wild card. Arizona is up a 1.5 games. And then you get the Mets and Braves. Listen, these are big games for the Cubs against the Dodgers. They're 4.5 back. So if the Cubs can rack up some wins against the Dodgers, they're sort of lingering here, although I don't really take them fully seriously. And it comes down to basically the Braves and the Mets. And hard to believe as well, crazier and even harder to believe than the Detroit Tigers only being 3 games out of a wild card spot right now. The NHL regular season starts in 24 days. October the 4th is only 24 days away right now. They started North America on October the 8th, but we've got a couple of games in the Czech Republic to start the season. But we'll get to that a little bit later on. McInnes, you're a Green Bay Packer fan, and disappointing loss for the Packers in week 1. I was on them. Plus the points. They were in the game. The missed field goal basically cost us the cover of that football game, the late missed field goal. But it was a wild football game, and the Philadelphia Eagles are a good team. So the biggest loss of the night, though, of course, was Jordan Love. Looks like they've dodged a bullet. There was talk, 3 to 6 weeks, but we're actually hearing 2 to 3 in more reality type of thing. They think potentially next week or, I don't think he's going to miss more than 2 games. He's not going to play this week, but which leads us into this football game this week against the Indianapolis Colts at Lambeau Field. What are your thoughts on the game, McKinnis?
My thoughts on the game is that there's a massive, massive overreaction in the point spread. I mean, we see it all the time. We saw it especially during COVID in NCAA football when players went out. They just, the line rapidly changed, and you could bet on that team that had injuries or had sicknesses. Very similar here. Jordan Love, great player. Big fan of him. Big fan of him, actually, ever since you called me out for going after him too hard last year. But this point spread differential from QB1 to QB2 is too much of a stretch here, guys. And you're going to have people lining up to bet against the Packers because their number one quarterback got out because of what he did to end last season. But again, this team has the ability to march down the field slowly, to dink and dunk their way, to use their new running back they have with Jacobs. I think that the best part about this Packers team that I say every week here on the show is that it's not just one guy they're targeting. You're going to see 5, 6, 7 guys that receive targets every single week. And I feel bad for anyone that takes Romeo 1 week on his receiving yards and Watson is the guy that has the big week this week. When they take Kraft 1 week and Musgrave has a good week 1 week. That's the depth that they have, Gabe. So to me, I think they're going to cover. The biggest worry I actually have, and goes back to last season as well, about this Packers team in this particular matchup is the rushing defense. I think I would look towards Richardson props for the rush. I'd look towards a lot of rushing props against this Packers team. I still don't trust their rushing defense, but I feel like they're really going to milk the clock. Wouldn't shock me to see an under here in this one. Wouldn't shock me to see an under by any means. I feel like both teams can milk the clock quite a bit in their possessions.
A lot of optimism from McKinnis about.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was Lincoln! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season, with 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James.
Man, Yamamoto looks good. I regret my strikeout prop bet already. Even though I'm on the under of the game, but man, this guy is good. And I tell you what, the Dodgers could be a very scary team as things start to come together for them once they start to get healthier. I mean, their pitching staff has been absolutely depleted throughout the season with injuries. All right, so McKinnis, there's a lot of confidence there about your Packers and how deep they are and this and that. And listen, the Indianapolis Colts are 3-point favorites in this game, which, all right, you know what I mean? I think that is a tough position to want to hang your hat on. Malik Willis will be the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. And it's interesting, isn't it? And this is the thing in the National Football League. If you are a player, which none of us are, but and same thing, like you see these quarterbacks and people will throw them under the bus. Justin Fields gets, you know what I mean? Justin Fields is out in Chicago, has a hard time, finding a team that wants to sign him. They tell him, listen, you're going to be the backup quarterback. And here we are. Justin Fields looks like he's going to be starting again this week. Malik Willis, right? He's a big draft bust. And, he's, in Tennessee gets rid of him. Here he is, week 2, with another opportunity. This is a big-time spot for Malik Willis to basically, he hasn't played that much, right? So that's the whole thing, McKinnis. I think we will see a very heavy ground attack. One thing with Malik Willis, he's got a cannon for an arm. He's not accurate. He makes, shaky decisions in the pocket. He's only started. How many games has this guy started? He's played 12 games in his life. So he's an extremely raw football player. But I do believe in LaFleur, and I do have a hard time laying 3 points on the road with the Indianapolis Colts. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
McKinnis?
I think he's muted, Gabe. But I agree. Oh,
did we lose him?
Yeah, and I think, I think he's still there. But there you are, McKinnis. Yeah, so you can continue. I'll give you my take. But I like the points too, McKinnis.
Yeah, guys, Cam, I just hope that LaFleur doesn't try and run a lot of the same plays for Willis that he was going to run for Love. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he's not capable of running them, but you have to make adjustments. I think they will.
Oh, there's no way in hell they do.
No, they got to simplify.
Well,
big time.
Malik Willis will throw 4 interceptions if they run the same offense. Mm-hmm. He's not capable of picking apart a defense throwing the football. He can make a couple of throws for you, but he has a hard time. Dude, he didn't even play that much in college. He didn't play big time football in college. He's a very raw player, Malik Willis. I'm not, the jury's out on him, Cam. He hasn't played enough, really. Quite frankly, to really see him. But he's one of these quarterbacks that he's a lot like Trey Lance in a sense that we don't really know much about him. But it seems like coaches just are freaked out when they see him play, and they're not down with it, right? Look how quickly they gave up on him in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. After basically a year, they were like, you know what? We made a mistake with this pick. And, similarly, you look at Trey Lance. Look at, the San Francisco 49ers system. Everybody comes in. Everybody's successful. Even Shanahan couldn't get Trey Lance going, right? And so he ends up on Dallas right now. He looked okay in the preseason, but this is a big game for Malik Willis at his career. If he can go up there and win a football game or two, he'll stay in the league, right? If he looks terrible, then this kid could be out of the league next year, right? That's the way the NFL stands for not for long. So, McKinnis, what's your official bet for this football game? Colts and Packers.
Yeah, I like the number here, Gabe. I'm gonna back the Packers here. I think this is a spot where you just have to take the team with the injured quarterback. You have to look at the matchup here. Again, if they can stop the run, I'm confident in their defense to protect the passing game. I'm confident in the Packers secondary to get the job done. For people betting props, bet receptions, not yards. Be careful with betting yards on guys right now. As the guys are saying right now, it's going to be very, very conservative play calling. But give me the Packers here to get the job done.
You know what? I'm not so sure, though, about that there won't be points in this game. There could be points in this game. Yeah. Malik, you don't think he's going to turn the ball over?
That's the problem.
Will.
Yeah.
And you don't think Anthony Richardson's the same thing. Anthony Richardson can run you over and run all over the place, but he could also, he could turn a ball over. It could lead to short fields, and you're also going to have quarterbacks that are going to be taken off a lot. Right, it's tricky. Look at the Texans and Colts game. Track me. We'll hit this on the other side.
it's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was Lincoln! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
The Chicago Cubs take a 1-0 lead. It's unbelievable. Yamamoto's actually struck out 5 guys in 2 innings. So if we're going to lose, we lose quickly. I can't believe that. He's struck out 5 Cub hitters, and I can't get mad at Freddie Freeman. He's too nice of a guy. But Freddie Freeman just cost the Dodgers a run. And it's 1-0, middle of the 2nd inning. Right now. So there was 2 out. There was a ground ball to first base, and it was a weird hop. It was a play that Freddie Freeman will make 9 out of 10, 99 out of 100 times, but it hit him and it rolled towards the dugout, and a run ended up scoring. But Yamamoto got out of it after that, so it is 1-0 right now in this game, and the new total is 7.5. So it started at 8. It's 7.5 right now. The Dodgers are currently -115. The Cubs are -115. Total 7.5. So as far as the NFL is concerned, we talked about the Packers and the Colts. So this game's in Green Bay. They're getting 3 points. So even with Malik Willis, I would lean with the home underdog in this spot. I think there's going to be a heavy dose of Josh Jacobs in this football game. We got the Browns and the Jags, but Thursday night football, the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills, McKinnis. I don't know what your thoughts are on this game. Normally, these Thursday night games are generally lower scoring, especially when they're division rivals playing each other on a short week. But we're so early into the season right now. Oh, we've got a tie baseball game. That didn't take long.
Nope.
Dodgers just hit a home run, and we got a 1-1 game. Tommy Edman with the solo shot. 1-1 game at Chavez Ravine. So the Bills and the Dolphins, Taron Johnson is going to be out for the Buffalo Bills. The Bills secondary was already shaky coming into this year. It was a big question mark about this team. And I don't really think they alleviated very much against Arizona, even though they did tighten things up in the second half. But Tua and company should be able to move the football on the Buffalo Bills, all right? But if you want a crazy stat, Josh Allen has thrown 2 or more touchdown passes against the Miami Dolphins in 13 consecutive football games. He's 11-1 in the last 12 games against the Miami Dolphins. He's only lost once to them. The Bills just own the Dolphins. They've beaten them 9 out of the last 10. as well. So theoretically, McKinnis, you know what I mean? If you look at this right now, the games in Miami, Buffalo's defense was, their secondary was a little shaky against the Cardinals. And, oh, yeah, by the way, McDaniels never lost in September. They're 14-0. He's 7-0 at home. The Dolphins are in early in the season. The Dolphins have been awesome. But with all that being stated, like I said, the Bills just own these guys. And the Dolphins have been in a lot of good spots over the years against the Bills, and they just can't beat them, McKinnis.
I have not bet this point spread quite yet, Gabe, but I would like to go in the Bills' direction. And I'm going to keep it really short and sweet here with this one, is that there's certain teams that I like in certain point spread ranges. And last week, I liked fading the Bills in the point spread range they were in. Now I want to back them in this point spread spot that they're in. And I think in this matchup in particular, obviously it's just win for the most part with this number we're seeing. Of course, it could land on a weird number, but I kind of like them here. You know, the Bills last week for me, I said a lot of times when I back underdogs, I sprinkle the money line. I said last week to all my buddies, the Cardinals will cover, the Bills will win. This is one of those matchups here. The Bills are going to be up for it. They're going to be motivated, and they're not going to be happy with how they played last week. Not always a bad thing to have a first opening week kind of shaky start. I like them here, and you know what I really like here, Gabe, is Keon Coleman over on his receiving yards. My favorite play of Thursday night. The money all spends the same when you go out to dinner. I think Coleman's going to have a great night. Current number I'm seeing is 43.5 to his over for the receiving yards, minus 115. He went over this number in game one, 51 yards, 4 catches. I think they're going to build off that. The chemistry is there. He said, Josh Allen, I don't think I've ever had someone like this on my team. I don't know if it was a shot at his buddy Diggs, but he said, I'll throw it in his direction. He's going to make the catch. Give me Coleman and give me the Bills to get the job done.
I like your pick, actually, with Coleman. Good eye. Getting that early, looking at the early numbers with the player props, McKinnis. Keon Coleman's a very big target, and I like where you're going with this because this game, the Dolphins are going to score. So the Bills are going to have to move the football, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills are playing from behind at some point in this football game, and they're going to go into a pass-happy offense, and I think Coleman receptions and yards because Josh, it's, like you said, and I've heard the same comments about Josh, about Keon Coleman. He already trusts him. That's the big key, right? With a quarterback and a wide receiver. Do you trust him? And as you stated, Josh said, all I got to do is throw it in Keon's direction, and I know he's going to come down with it. And he came up with a couple of big plays in the second half of that football game, Coleman. You could tell early in the game he lined up offside once in the neutral zone. He was, really fired up. It was his first game in the NFL, but I like where you're going at, 43.5. Very, very reasonable. And, man, it almost sounds cliche, but Josh Allen is he's a stat machine, this guy. He scores touchdowns. He runs the football. He throws the football. Like I said, 49, a lot of points for a Thursday nighter, right? These short weeks, these games generally don't go over. And the Bills and Dolphins have played some unders before, but I don't see how there's not points put up on the board in this game, guys.
Agreed, Gabe. And also the teaser, you get the Bills at +9 over 41.5 there. I think that's there. I agree with you guys on Coleman. Kincaid really didn't have a big game against the Cardinals. Only 1 catch for 11 yards. I expect them to do a hell of a lot better in game number 2. And you're right, Gabe, with Allen, I almost want to take him every single game for rushing and a touchdown. When he knows his team is down, he takes it upon his shoulders to say, let's get that first down. Let's extend the drive. The guy's an absolute animal. This should be a really good Thursday night game. And, these teams can both light it up.
Thing is, because you talked about the Packers sort of being dynamic with different weapons, and it's true. It's tough. Like if you're going to play props, right? They could go to Reed. They could go to Dobbs. They could go to Watson. It's going to go to the open guy, essentially. And it's Kansas City Chiefs now are so dangerous because of the great wide receivers that they have. But when they lost Tyreek Hill, it was very similar to Diggs leaving Buffalo. People are like, oh, my God, you're losing Tyreek Hill. And, Mahomes said it himself. And he said, I'll tell you what, defenses are going to have a hard time knowing where we're going to throw the football because when I snap the ball, I don't know where I'm throwing the football. And Mahomes said, I throw to the open guy. And he said, I don't care, if you're a star, you're a rookie. If you're open, and I'll throw it to you. And, Josh Allen is saying the exact same things now, McKinnis. about like the Buffalo Bill offense. He's like, now they're like flat out admitting, yes, it was a pain in the ass having to get the ball at Diggs all the time and him complaining all the time. And it becomes predictable for the other team as well. They know, right? We see the same thing with the Saints. When the Saints were kind of good, Michael Thomas would have like 160 targets in a year. He'd have like 120 receptions or whatever. And then you get into the playoffs and the other team knows. It's like, listen, all they do is throw to this one guy. So let's take him out, and then suddenly they're going to be discombobulated, and they are. And you see this when you got a bunch of weapons just sort of running around, right? So the Buffalo Bill wide receivers, though, they have to do a better job of getting open. There are a lot of times that Josh had to take off on his own, but I do like that Keon Coleman prop at 43.5 receiving yards for Keon Coleman. All right, so we'll get into some CFL football, too. We got Rick Saratella on the show, scout with the Edmonton Elks. The Elks are smoking hot right now, this football team. So we'll get into that. We got a 1-1 baseball game at Chavez Ravine. We'll see what other best bets McKinnis has for the National Football League this week. The Sunday nighter is the Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans. The point spread remains 6.5. The Monday nighter is also a 6.5 point spread with the Eagles and the Falcons. And it looks like Justin Fields will be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Broncos this week.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking, but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Man, Yamamoto's pitching a clinic here right now. He's got 7 freaking strikeouts. Like, I don't feel bad losing my bet because if it was 6.5, I would have taken the under. I mean, he's on a pitch count. He's thrown 46 pitches and he's striking out 7 batters. like the Cubs are like lost. And the good thing with Yamamoto is Major League Baseball teams really haven't seen him that much. He got hurt after a couple of months in. This is his first year of Major League Baseball. And it takes even pro hitters. You can watch him on tape and stuff, but you've got to see him in person. And the movement on this guy's pitches tonight is, like I said, this is just unbelievable. But put it this way, if they weren't going to take him out, this guy could set a record for, like, strikeouts tonight. He's got 7 strikeouts through 2 innings into the third inning here, right? Like, it's insane. I mean, almost every out has been a strikeout in this game for him, and he's going to be coming out of the game pretty soon, but it is a 1-1 game right now. All right, McKiss, I want to get to the CFL, but what do you like early? It's tough. It's still kind of early in the week in the NFL. I don't like putting people on the spot, but there are always games that jump off the screen at you, or, you know, you get a good feel right away. At least I do when I look the initial time at the point spreads. So what do you think about the card this week? Who do you like?
I know what you mean, Gabe. Like, you don't want to fall in love with stuff early, but naturally, you like stuff when you look at the odds here the next week. Give me the Seahawks. I got it at -3. It's 3 in the hook now. I'm still good with it. I saw a number. It said, actually, shout out to Ralph Michaels, 41%. That's the winning clip ATS for a team since 2011 coming off an outright win as +3.5 dogs or higher. I'm not usually a stats guy or trends guy like that, but 41%, pretty much saying a team that had a win like the Patriots had last week, it's very hard to follow that up. I've heard a lot of people saying about Seattle's travel. Are you kidding me? It's week 2. I don't care about that travel in week 2. And also, I think that the Seattle Seahawks last week, they won by 6. They should have won by 16. 2 safeties in the first half. I'm not saying Bo Nix played bad, because guess what? One of my other picks, the Broncos. So I'm not really saying the Seahawks played, should have dominated the Broncos, but I'm just saying the Seahawks will be focused in this one. So Broncos plus the points, laying the points with the Seahawks, 2 plays I like. And also, give me the over in the Lions and Bucks games. Cornerbacks going out for the Bucks. Baker Mayfield slinging the ball. The Lions, to me, could have had more points in their primetime matchup, guys. That, to me, is the over of the week.
That's a fun game, actually, that's flying under the radar. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were in that game last year in the playoffs. So you have another revenge spot. It's a unique situation for the Lions opening up the season against teams that they played in the playoffs last year. You know what? As far as that Patriot game is concerned, good point. As far as the travel early in the season, I agree with you. It's so early in the season, it doesn't, it's not going to take it won't have an effect on them. But it is still a road game. It's an early start for them Sunday morning. And the New England Patriot defense is good. All right, that's the one thing that people sort of forgot about, the Patriots are going to be terrible and they're going to be the worst team in the NFL and all this. The Patriot defense is too good for them to be the worst team in the NFL. Like, they're in balance. Like, their defense is like a playoff caliber defense, and their offense is, a rebirth and a rebuilding process. But the defense is that good. And I think they got something going there with Mayo right now. Cam, you're the Seattle Seahawks fan here. This is not an easy game for Seattle going on the road into Foxborough. It's a tough place to play. They're nut jobs there. They're going to be all fired up that they won last week. And quite frankly, Seattle did put it together a bit in the second half, but Denver are a bad football team, and the game was in Seattle. You were playing against a rookie quarterback. Jacoby Brissett is not a rookie quarterback. I'm not saying the Patriots are going to win 8 games this year, but I think maybe a lot of us overestimated or thought they were going to be worse than they actually are in reality.
It's a great call. Their defense is still legit. I will tell you this, though, Gabe. The Seahawks have been a lot better on the East Coast recently. Remember, they beat the Lions when they traveled east early. I know they got smoked by the Ravens last year, but they've been a hell of a lot better traveling west to east. McInnes is right. Seattle should have won that game by a hell of a lot more. There was a backdoor touchdown by Denver. And you're right, though, Gabe. The Denver Broncos are not very good, and Seattle dominated the second half. But I'm scared of New England. You're right, Gabe. Like, they actually played a great game against Cincinnati in the defense. They held Joe Burrow in check, and I'm a little bit worried. Gino did some nice things, but I'm not certain it's a lock. I think they will win by 4 points in this game. McInnes, I wish I had your confidence. I'm usually pretty good with Seattle. You get the 5.5, you cover. You get the 6.5, you cover with Denver. You could have middled that game quite sweetly. And I'll tell you this, I think Seattle probably wins by 4, right around the number, Gabe. It's not going to be easy. The Patriots will be a hard out in New England.
To me, it's a toss-up game and a ballsy game that you take as well, McInnes, with the Broncos. So you like the Broncos at home. They're getting 3 points. I'll say this, one thing about this, and I think the Broncos would have been better off if it was Russell Wilson. And I thought it would be Russell Wilson. I mean, they were like, oh, he's close to playing last week, so you would assume that he would want to play in this football game, especially against Sean Payton in Denver. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he does. You know what I mean? Maybe he doesn't. But either way, Justin Fields will be the starting quarterback again. They didn't get into the end zone, but Pittsburgh are better than Denver are. And, this is the type of game, McCannis. Mike Tomlin, very similar to the Atlanta game. Won't be pretty, but speaking of defenses, T.J. Watt might be the best player in the league, along with Chris Jones, on the defensive side of the football. I mean, this guy is a menace to society. He just wreaks havoc, and it's such a difference when T.J. Watt is on the field and when he isn't for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, me personally, I kind of could see Justin Fields doing enough, running around a bit, and another really, really close game here. So what's your reasoning for liking the Broncos?
So it's kind of funny, guys, because obviously the Broncos and Seahawks played last week, and yet I'm finding a way to say good things about both of them. But you talk about Nix, right? To me, he looked confident out there. I'm not saying that all the throws he made were great. I think he should have been picked off several times, not just once. But I like the confidence we saw from him. I like the play calling we saw from them. I trust their run game. You look at the other side, Gabe, what's the score going to be? 10-7, 6-3? I don't trust the offense of Pittsburgh.
That's why the total's 36 and a half.
Exactly.
I like that.
So if we see the Denver offense slinging the ball around, Pittsburgh got to play an injured quarterback or a quarterback coming off an injury. They got to play a team that didn't really have that chemistry forward. And all of a sudden I'm hearing, wow, Pittsburgh beat a team with field goals. Pittsburgh's team, to me, I'm not
but now they get Bo Nix.
Give me Denver.
I don't know about, Bo Nix. That's the thing. You're getting a rookie quarterback here. More on the other side.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Got a lot of teammates going against each other here. Ohtani and Imanaga going head-to-head here. There's runners on first and second for the Dodgers. Bottom of the third inning. Nobody out right now. Imanaga and Ohtani, teammates on the Japanese national team. And it's amazing, isn't it? You know the guy. You don't fear the guy. You play with the guy. Ohtani just hit into a double play, which I don't think I've ever seen in my life. He never hits into double plays. He just hit into a double play. Because if there's anyone, even Maga's like, I know Shohei. I know he doesn't like, you know what I mean? I know how to pitch to this guy. And so that really helped the under, actually. Because Ohtani rips one into the gap or something. The Dodgers put 2 runs on the board. Suddenly it's 3-1. We're at 4 runs. Instead, he hits into the double play. The Dodgers do have a runner on third base right now. With 2 out, Mookie Betts comes to the plate. And the in-game total right now for this game remains 7.5. Okay, my kids, we've got a couple of minutes before we get you out of here. I haven't forgotten about the CFL just because the NFL and college football is back. And in fact, I really enjoyed the Saturday triple header of CFL action on Saturday. And we absolutely smoked it. We won 11-1, 12 picks. We won 11 of them last week. We had like 2 sweeps, 3 sweeps, and 1 loss. We would have won 12-0. We missed out by half a point on a total. And I find this week is a little bit trickier. Last week, the games just sort of like roped themselves, I found. You get the BC Lions hosting the Toronto Argonauts. BC like 4.5 points on Friday night. It's too bad it's on Friday and not Saturday because I can't go now. But total is 52.5. Ottawa Red Blacks and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Ottawa are -4. And Montreal and Calgary. BC are definitely back on track right now, McKinnis. I look at this game, and I'm thinking over 52.5 because this BC offense is starting to get on track. I think Toronto will be able to score on BC. The 4.5, I would go BC if I had to. I would lean with Ottawa right now, and Calgary are all but done. And I think Montreal are going to murder them. What do you think about the CFL card?
Oh man, Gabe, after I hear someone just went 11-1, I don't exactly want to be on the opposite side of them. But congrats
well, we
on
get
your
free
big
picks
weekend.
a game, right, for every CFL game.
Yeah, for
Except
sure.
the weekend
For sure.
I was in Vegas, I didn't do it. I didn't post. A lot of people missed the picks. I appreciate it. I was in no business to be giving CFL picks. I was lit up on Fremont Street. So, no, but it upset me. I was like, God damn, I missed the CFL bet at the Circa. I was like,
The worst was because BC murdered on that day or two. I'm like, damn, I bet BC's cashing large and you're at the game. They've been on fire. A Victoria game. Yeah.
But guys, I like the Argos here, and a reason here is because BC won. They lost 5 straight games. One of those games was on the road to Ottawa. They come back home, and they're like, I'm back. We're back here. Nathan Rourke is our guy. We're going to kick their butt, and then we're going to go ahead and give the Alouettes their 2nd loss of the season. Well, who's the other team in the league that gave the Montreal Alouettes a loss? The Argos. The Argos are coming in here about as motivated and unhappy, for lack of better words, I could use harsher words, than they have been all season. The back-to-back losses this Toronto team had, and the performance that Chad Kelly had last week, you don't think he's embarrassed? You don't think he's looking at what he did and thinking, I want to right those wrongs? I think he's capable of it. I saw 4.5, saw 5. To me, I'm going to take the dog here in this game. Should be a great game. And if it's going to be a great game, I want to take the underdog here. Ottawa, Hamilton, look, guys, I would be having a fantastic CFL season if I just didn't play any games involving the Red Blacks. That team has been my absolute enemy all year. Give me the over in that game, because if Hamilton even hangs around in that game and puts up some points themselves, that game goes over. And this is the one that's going to catch everyone off guard. Calgary plus the 6. When teams are dead, that's when they start cashing tickets for you. In my opinion, you look at what they did with benching Mayer last week. It should have been this week they benched him and just hung him out to dry, or just hung the other guy out to dry. I think Jake Mayer being benched will motivate him. He'll come back and play well. They're going to do enough to cover. You look at this Calgary team. This is the point spread range they always cover in.
Andrew McKinnis, thinking outside the box. Always a pleasure, McKinnis. We didn't get a chance to get to the NHL. We'll do it next week. 24 days and counting until we drop the puck in the Czech Republic with the Sabres and Devils. Buffalo Sabres. I don't know how they drew the assignment. I guess.
Out of all the teams that sent the Sabres to the Czech Republic.
I guess it's kind of a punishment. They're like, no, the Leafs are like, we're not going to Czech Republic. Screw you. All right, Buffalo.
Yeah.
it's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
The Twisted Tuesday continues. This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency, the pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between, including Rick Saratella, the founder of the NFL Draft Bible, allaccessfootball.com, a scout with the Edmonton Elks, a red-hot Edmonton Elk football team right now. Rick Saratella in the house. How you doing, Rick?
Ah, man, cool him down, baby. Gabriel Morency, football season, football fever. Buckle up. Excited to be here, baby.
The football season is now officially in full swing. College football, NFL football, CFL football. Somebody probably should have told the New York Jets that the season has started. And time again, we see teams who treat the preseason with nothing but malice, and it costs them for the first couple of games of the season. Sometimes teams don't really get into a rhythm, but look, Aaron Rodgers, everything is fine, right? He didn't need to play in the preseason. Clearly, that offense was not fine. And I think more alarmingly for the New York Jets is the fact that the defense got carved up the way that they did. But with all that being stated, it is week 1, and the San Francisco 49ers are a damn good football team.
Yeah, it's tough times for New Jersey football at the professional level, at least. The New York Jets, I mean, listen, Aaron Rodgers coming off an ACL injury, really haven't played a regular season game for 2 years. First game back against the San Francisco 49ers, who are dominant in the trenches, who are too deep at every position. I mean, anybody, and all the professional, quote unquote, analysts are shocked. Like, you got guys like Peter Schrager's of the world that are bamboozled by the Jets because Aaron Rodgers makes a media appearance, and it sounds wonderful. But the reality is he's like 40 years old, coming off an ACL against arguably the best defense. I mean, you've got to be in la-la land to think the Jets had a puncher's chance in that game.
Yeah, tough spot for them. They get an opportunity this week against a Tennessee Titan team that blew the lead against Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. But as you talked about, it's just a constant theme of bad football being played in New Jersey. And Rutgers are the best team in the state. All right, let's just call it out for what it is. Like, Rutgers are the only ones that don't, like, flat out suck. Right? And listen, I don't know if the New York the New York Jets, suck is the right word. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt, as you say, the first game back, San Francisco and all that. But as far as the Giants are concerned, bro, it's a dumpster fire. Like, it literally is. It's a train wreck dumpster fire. you and I talked about how bad Joe Shane came off in the offseason with the cameras rolling and how he handled the Saquon Barkley situation. Mara tells him, I'm not going to be able to sleep at night if he ends up on the Philadelphia Eagles. Shane tells him, oh, don't worry, he's not going to the Eagles. So he goes to the Eagles, and he scores more points by himself than the New York Giants will this month probably. And it's getting bad with Daniel Jones now, bro. Like, he's getting worse by the game. I don't even think he cares anymore, to be honest. I think he looks like he's just worn out to me, Rick.
It's remarkable. I mean, here we are. It's we're right here, September 11th, and the Giants and Jets season are both over before the New York Yankees season. And it's really disgraceful. By the way, never forget September 11th. What a day in history. But when it comes to the New York Football Giants and Joe Shane, I don't think there's a hotter seat in pro football. And his job might already be gone, because I don't think, even if the Giants make the playoffs, unless they win 2 playoff games, I think it's over for Joe Shane. And Joe Shane and Brian Daboll, I do believe they're a combo package. They'll be the ones who are blamed for this. But at the end of the day, it's John Mara who was weak. It's John Mara who's been around the New York Football Giants his entire life. It's John Mara who clearly pointed out what needed to be done, but he's like my divorce court lawyer. He's just too passive. He's not aggressive enough, and he's the one that
point, Rick. Yeah. Let me just jump in here. You're the owner. Joe Shane doesn't tell you what to do. You tell him, re-sign Saquon Barkley. And he clearly didn't. And as you stated, Shane will be the fall guy for it.
Yes, that's correct.
And Brian Daboll, I think he's a good coach, Brian Daboll, personally, Rick. But I think Brian Daboll, but he's not the guy. Okay, he was a good coordinator. But as far as being a head coach concerned, if he had a stocked, cupboard, if the roster was stacked, I think, fine, he'd be able to operate it. But I don't think he's the type of guy to rebuild a bad football team. I don't think, like, his temperament, like, he's used to, dude, like you said, he's an offensive coordinator, and he was always around good people, right? He's with Saban. He's with, he's with Belichick. He's always around, like, these winning teams and big-time coaches in his career, and now he's on his own, and he doesn't have a roster, right? So that's my deal with Daboll. I think he can coach a good team, but I don't think he's the guy to rebuild a team, Rick.
Well, it was my polite way of saying everything you just said. And the reality is you're not a motivator. You're not a CEO type. You offer zero on the defensive side of the ball. You're really just a play caller. And really, I mean, you're a strong-minded play caller, which is why you got there. You went down neck to neck with Saban, and that's what you want as an offensive coordinator. You don't want a yes dummy. You want somebody who's got a strong mind, who's going to argue with you when needed and offer up different perspectives. But in terms of being the CEO, and also I will point out this, if you look around the league and the successful organizations, a lot of the head coaches are having front office feedback and input. I just don't see Brian Daboll as that dude. And guys like Jim Harbaugh and some of these other guys are going to crush him all day long.
But it's a great point as far as Mara is concerned. It's been one bad hire and mismanagement after another. I mean, this goes back to, okay, so you made a mistake on Daniel Jones. That was a long time ago. You could have corrected this by now. You don't need to ride it out, right? You admit, all right, we made a mistake. You could have drafted a quarterback this year. And listen, I think Malik Neighbors is a great wide receiver, Rick, but wide receivers are luxury items. You don't draft a wide receiver if you don't have a quarterback. You don't have an offensive line. You just mentioned it with Harbaugh. He's with the Chargers. He even has Herbert. He could have said, man, we're going to get Neighbors. We're going to put him with Herbert. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. No, you know what he said? We're taking Joe Alt. You know what I mean? We're taking Joe Alt. We're going to get a player that's going to be here for 12 years, and we're building a foundation, not a luxury item. That's what the Giants did. They should have taken Michael Penix, the Giants. Like, they could have been moving on and have Jones, and now they're going to be screwed going into next year looking for a quarterback and a thin QB class.
That's right. They'll be with a new quarterback, a new head coach, and Daniel Jones will go down as the biggest fraud in New York Giants history since Dave Brown. Remember, it took Ket Graham to get us out of the Dave Brown era. But This has been a bamboozle for the Giants fan base and just a disgrace to New Jersey football in general.
Yeah, but do you blame the player? You can't blame a player for taking money. You can't blame a player for making money, right? It wasn't his fault he got overdrafted, right? But
it's when you make a bad evaluation on the quarterback position, your job is on the line, and they made a poor decision on the financial allocation to the one Danny Donuts.
Well, with all that being stated, what do you think about the Giants this week against the Washington Commanders? Jaden Daniels playing in his second game. It's the home opener for the Commanders. The Commanders, Washington has been one team that the Giants have gotten the better of. 8-2 straight up last 10 times they played, Rick.
Yeah, listen, Gabe, I was even fooled by the Giants. I thought, if anything, the Vikings would be the one game they should be favored in. I don't expect them to be favored in any games. And the Giants fans and organization is going to be reminded how exciting it is to have a franchise quarterback. And Jaden Daniels will make enough plays to defeat the New York Giants.
I would almost buy in that the Giants could bounce back. And you and I have been talking for years. I used to defend Daniel Jones. I've defended him. I thought, he didn't have the best opportunity to succeed in the past. The offensive line was terrible. There's been a lot of, there's been a lot of excuses, but after a while, the excuses just run out. The results aren't there, and it is what it is. But from what I understand, he's dating Kay Adams, so I guess he's winning off the field. More with Rick Saratella on the other side. Bring it.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. We're talking football with Rick Saratella right now, and we will get into a little CFL and his Edmonton Elks as the CFL season is getting serious right now, and really, really cool. It's been a great season of football in the CFL, but the NFL is back. We were talking about the New York Giant situation and what a train wreck it is for them, but they're not the only ones, Rick, and I don't like to overreact after 1 week. Right? As we stated, listen, the New York Jets are going to win some football games. The New York Giants won't. The Giants are bad. But the Carolina Panthers, Rick, man, what a way to start the season, right? Like there's, especially when you're a bad team and you have a new coach, there's supposed to be some hope, at least something to hang your hat on, and you got absolutely destroyed by the New Orleans Saints. You've got the Deshaun Watson situation in Cleveland right now, Rick, where they gave him $250 million guaranteed, and he can't play football anymore, this guy. It is what it is. We can keep waiting. Well, he needs more time. More time. It's been 4 years, Rick. The time is now, bro.
Yeah, with Deshaun Watson, I think this is going to go down in NFL history. It's going to be right up there with the Herschel Walker trade. I mean, I don't know which one is worse. I might need some time to reflect on that.
Well, Russell Wilson's deal is in that. The Bryce Young Carolina deal, they're starting to add up. But the Herschel Walker deal, I hear where you're going with this, but one of the worst deals in NFL history we're dealing with here right now with Deshaun for the production that he's given them. But a quick reference here, Rick. Remember Sam Bradford? Sam Bradford used to get called out all the time. He made like $148 million, and he only played this many games and this many wins and stuff. Well, he's played more than Deshaun Watson. Sam Bradford actually, would show up. I know he'd get hurt sometimes, but this is like for the amount of production that Deshaun's given back to the Browns, it is one of the worst deals in NFL history and sports history.
Right, and they gave up 3 first-round picks and then paid them all the guaranteed money. I mean, that's the killer. And so, I don't know where the Cleveland Browns go from here because now they're stuck with that albatross contract, and that's going to be hard to rebuild. And, I thought Cleveland was going to win that game, but Dallas came out like gangbangers, and Dak Prescott is now lighting up the scoreboard. But, Bryce Young, when you don't surround your team with playmakers, when you can't make those explosive plays, like the NFL level is really a game every Sunday or any given day, any given game is really decided by three or four plays. And if you don't have guys who can make explosive plays, like we talk about, Adam Thielen's your number one dude. Like, I need a big play. Adam Thielen is good for like 8 yards, maybe a first down. But, when you can't get the ball downfield and make big plays, you can't win in the National Football League.
So, Rick, looking at the updated Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year odds after Week 1, Caleb Williams is now plus 150. The Bears won the football game, but Caleb did struggle in the football game. Jaden Daniels is plus 375. Jaden was okay, right? They were overmatched. He's on a bad football team. He was okay. Quinn says he doesn't want to see him run the football and get hit as much as he does, but that was a problem for him at LSU as well. He doesn't – some QBs, like, Kyler Murray knows how not to get smoked. Daniels doesn't. He runs very upright, and I understand why Quinn's telling him, bro, you can't get hit like this is the NFL. Marvin Harrison Jr. got shut down against the Bills in Week 1. He's 7-1 right now. And a player that I had circled, and it angers me as a Bill fan, we aided and abetted this crime, Xavier Worthy, bro. He's 11-1 right now. He was like 25-1 in the offseason. 2 touchdowns out of the gate. He looks the part early here, Rick. Bo Nix is 12-1. Malik Neighbors 14-1. Keon Coleman 25-1. Keon made some plays for the Bills, Rick. What were your takeaways as far as the rookies in Week 1?
Well, listen, Xavier Worthy, woo, did you see the quicks on that guy? I mean, I don't care how you get the ball in his hands. Just let him touch the ball, let him do his thing, do a little dance, make a little love.
It doesn't matter if you're a rookie or not. If you're fast, you're fast, right? I don't care if you're a rookie.
Man, you can't teach speed. And this guy, give me the Patrick Mahomes timeshare, right? Like, this could be one of the best pitch and catch duos of all time in NFL history. Like, just throw it up, run underneath, go, it's like playing Frisbee with your dog. Like, go fetch, Fido. Go get that ball. The quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels, it's a shame that Dan Quinn, him or somebody on his coaching staff can't teach that in training camp. We're in Week 1, and he's still realizing that that's the biggest flaw in his game. I mean, anybody could have told you that, Mr. Quinn, prior to Morristown, New Jersey. So let's work on some coaching technique there. But I think at the end of the day, you saw the Bears come back from 17 points down. Caleb Williams, I think something magical is happening in Chicago with Caleb Williams. I'm really interested to see how they respond against the Texans this week. And you mentioned Bryce Young, last year's rookie quarterback against the Chargers. I just want to say, I think that's the power play of the week. I think the Chargers are going to take him to the back of the woodshed. I think that's going to be the blowout of the week.
Yeah, I'm going to have I'm going to have a hard time not taking. I'm seriously considering the Chargers in the Circa Survivor pool. We dodged a bullet. We didn't take the Cincinnati Bengals in week 1, Rick, and 34% of the entries did. All right. If we can, our boy Pat Foster in Master Control, can you let me know, Pat, where we're at here? I'm losing track of time. It's like the Seinfeld bit. All talk show hosts don't know the time. So, all right. So Rick Saratella with us, and yeah, the Chargers. You know what? It wasn't pretty, Rick, but that's Harbaugh, isn't it? I said it the other night. I was talking with a big time Charger fan, Jeff Feinberg, who joins our show. And
best post-game locker room scene of the week.
Yeah, you know what, though? It's like, all right, Herbert used to throw for 350 yards and not win the game. Now is an ugly game. All right, it wasn't pretty, but we won the football game. It's a big difference when we got Harbaugh in the room, isn't it? He's just going to find ways to win games that each game at a time, each week at a time. And they're still years away. I mean, Harbaugh doesn't really have a ton to work with this roster still right now, but just a positive step. They win that football game, and you see the enthusiasm he brings to that room.
I think you see his ability to connect with the modern-day athlete, and I think that's something that's underestimated when it comes to the head coaching skill set position, and you see that whole locker room buying in after 1 week. Unbelievable.
Rick Saratella kicking it with us on the Twisted Tuesday. I am Gabriel Morency. All right, we got another segment. With Rick on the other side, and we'll get into some CFL football. But
it's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
The Twisted Tuesday. I am Morency. We're kicking at Sirius XM Channel 159 of the SportsGrid radio and television networks. Always great talking football with Rick Saratella. And, Rick, let's talk some CFL football. Your Edmonton Elks. Rick is a scout with the Elks now. And it was a really rough start to the season, obviously. 7 consecutive losses. But it sounds cliche, but they were in most of the football games that they were losing. They just kept on finding different ways to lose the game. They made a coaching change. And now this team is almost unstoppable. They're one of the most dangerous offenses in the Canadian Football League. And that's the beautiful thing, Rick. And you know what? We're going to see this actually in the NFL in coming years. An 18-game season, Rick, it gives you much more room, right? It's more flexible. Yeah, it sounds crazy. We're 0-7, but our season isn't over yet. And this is a classic example with your Edmonton Elks right now.
That's right. They say the Canadian Football League starts on Labor Day, and we went from being in the basement and a winless organization to, dare I say, from what I've heard on other podcasts, championship contenders, right? And you're right. That's the beauty of the CFL. I think there's a lot of very good teams in the league. Any given week, any team can win. And we enter the bye week.
Any given Saturday. Now the games are on Saturday from here on out for the most part. Instead of any given Sunday, any given Saturday.
Yeah, well, the NFL's schedule kicks in, so we had the triple header on Saturday. But I'll tell you what, man, we've got, I think, 2 games against Calgary, 2 games against Winnipeg. We're going to control our own fate here. And so you mentioned the changes. Shout out to G. Roy Simon and Jarius Jackson, the new GM and head coach there. They made some in-house decisions in terms of our workout regimen, our schedule, maybe lessening the workload, the day-to-day activities. We had some very long and grueling days. And I think what you're seeing is a byproduct of a fresher team. And when we get into the fourth quarter, where in the beginning of the season we were losing some of those close games because we're more fresh, we're not practicing as hard or as much, we have that extra juice in the fourth quarter. And the ground pound, I mean, I don't care if it's the NFL, CFL, any level of football, you see it week in and week out. You mentioned the 49ers. You see the 3-headed attack that we've got in our backfield. If you can play good defense and run the ball, you got a shot to go very, very far. And we're excited about it.
And another sort of example, another cliche, but and the Edmonton Elks are proving it to be true. You need multiple quarterbacks in the modern football world, right? Especially in these 18-game season. You've seen the CFL. CFL is a vicious league, and the schedule is tough. There's short rest. A lot of players get hurt, right? Like by the halfway point, man, every team, man, like almost every quarterback was hurt. Everybody's injured, and the Edmonton Elks, from McLeod Bethel Thompson into Trey Ford, back to Bethel Thompson, and it looks like it's going to be back to Trey Ford. It's working, right? And they're different quarterbacks, which is so it goes to show, it's just you got everyone's contributing on this team. It's a lot of fun right now. I'm fired up, and I tell you what, I'm a big CFL guy, Rick. I've been watching the CFL since the mid '70s. I've been to numerous Grey Cups. We'll be at the Grey Cup this year again, and the CFL is always an open league. It's always like, yeah, you know what? It's not a lock, man, that the best team is going to win in the playoffs. You have instances where teams will come out of nowhere and have a bad year, make the playoffs, and then win the Grey Cup. But this year in the CFL, Rick, the Montreal Alouettes are a quality football team, the defending champions. The Ottawa Red Blacks are the surprise team of the year. All right, their win total was 6.5. They're already at 8 wins right now. They're a good football team. People don't want to give them credit for it, but they keep on finding ways to win football games. The Argos have a lot of talent. They just get Chad Kelly back. The Bombers are hot right now. The BC Lions are back on track, and they get Matthew Betts back, and they got Adams and Rourke at the QB situation. So they're feeling good. The Rough Riders are starting to hit a wall a little bit, and now you're knocking on the door to the Edmonton Elks now from 0-7 guys to 5-8. What a league, Rick. I know it's your first year in the CFL, but you're seeing what a fun league it is.
Yeah, and I think Jarius and G-Roy were teammates, I believe, on Hamilton when they were 0-6 and ran the table and won the championship. We're trying to rekindle some of that magic, and I'll tell you what, man, it took some time. We had a lot of new pieces come in, but you're right with the quarterback situation. A lot of times the old cliche has been if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. But I love the situation we're in. Trey's still a little bit sore with the ribs. We didn't have to rush him back. And McLeod Bethel Thompson, 2 games ago, I thought played the best game of his CFL career. And so we rode the hot hand, and we'll see what coach decides coming out of the bye week. But Winnipeg has been the class of the CFL. I don't know if there's been a more successful organization over the last 5 years. I think they won about 5 games.
Yeah, you can't write them off.
It's a new era in CFP to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of a week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoff.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
The Twisted Tuesday continues. Thanks to Rick Saratella for kicking it with us on the program. AllAccessFootball.com, the NFL Draft, a Bible, of course, and he's a scout with the Edmonton Elks. Now, quick update from Chavez Ravine with the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Chicago Cubs. We've got a 3-1 baseball game. We're in the top of the 6th inning. The Cubs have a runner on second base. There's 1 out. The in-game total is 7.5. Yamamoto was amazing, but he's out of the game right now, so Dodgers bullpen could be a little bit suspect here. We'll see if the Cubs are able to cash this in. But total 7.5. The Dodgers are now minus 550. The Cubs are plus 375. The Dodgers are minus 2.5 runs on the run line, but plus money. Although they just locked it up here right now. I don't know why. Cody Bellinger is at the plate. But let's get back to the gridiron right now. And Loud Esmond was with us last week, and he lit it up. Ton of great picks. We look to keep it going here because I often say the only people that can live in the past, history teachers and hair metal bands. But handicappers do like to do it as well. Loud Esmond steps up and in. How you doing, Loud?
Well, I'm doing great. It's, of course, we're in the Pacific Northwest. It's Apple Cup week, which is, unusual.
Rare for this time of the year.
I don't like it.
Yeah, unusual, highly. This game was actually the last game of the season that was played every year traditionally between these two teams. And the first edition of this game was actually played in 1900, 124 years ago. So it's one of the more storied rivalries in football. And it's weird. We're used to watching Apple Cup games and it's snowing or it's raining. It's generally bad weather games. I enjoy watching a good bad weather game, so it makes it really exciting. But we're going to get it in early September this year.
And you know what's interesting? The Civil War as well. The same. It's this weekend, which is rare. But you know what, though? Credit these athletic directors for actually keeping these games going. Like if you look at like Bedlam, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State, were unable to do it. So at least they understand how important these games are to the alum and to the fan bases. And one thing, Loud, too, listen, the fact that the Pac-12, we'll see, they have 2 years to save it, right? They lose their, accreditation after 2 years. So basically Washington State and Oregon State control it right now, the Pac-2, but they could bring teams in, save this conference somehow, but they seem to be pretty incompetent from a business standpoint, these schools. Like, the athletic directors of Oregon State and Washington State act like victims. Dude, everyone knew this was freaking coming, and you guys are just, left without a conference after due to your incompetence. But for people who don't realize this, they made a ton of money off of this. Oregon State and Washington State control the Pac-12 money. So they got like $260 million. They won the lawsuit, right? Exactly, Loud. They went to court, and they're like, we're still the Pac. We never left. It's our money. And the judge said, yeah, you know what? You guys do all have this $260 million is yours. And the other teams really couldn't do it. They're like, all right, screw it. They ended up with $200 million plus out of it. But long story short, it's criminal. It's sad that it happened. And if you look, guys, look at the Pac-12 teams. USC, all right, beats LSU. They murder Utah State. USC look really good. Arizona State beats Mississippi State. Cal goes into Auburn and beats the Auburn Tigers. You look, Loud, all these former Pac-12 teams. Washington State murders Texas Tech. I could go on. I mean, Oregon State went into to San Diego State. Just, whatever. San Diego State are bad now, but beat them easily. Utah are a national power. We could go on and on. It's too bad this isn't a conference anymore because there are a lot of good football teams. And Cam Ward himself said it after they beat the Florida Gators. He said, man, all this SEC talk. He said, I played real football in the Pac-12. This was nothing.
That's great.
Oh, man. Well, all right.
It's true. Cam Ward said the loudest building. He said, all this talk about the swamp. He said it was much louder in Oregon. He goes, the loudest building I've ever played in was Washington. And he said USC was louder than this. So he was propping up the Pac-12. So we got the Apple Cup. Like I said, very impressive by Washington State. They lost so many players due to transfer once they lost their conference affiliation. They haven't missed a beat yet, but I could argue that this point spread is just way too low right now, Loud. What's your opinion on the Apple Cup?
Well, I'm not actually going to do a side bet. I'm on the over-under, and here's why. Both these teams are 2-0. Both have played nothing but cupcakes. Cougars dusted Portland State 70-30, and then a big win over Texas Tech 37-16 last week. But the biggest factor to me is the Huskies' defense. It hasn't been great competition, but in 2 games they've allowed 0 touchdowns and precisely 12 points. But their offense has not been very good. In fact, the offense has been bad. I think the play here, because of those factors and the fact that it's a rivalry game and there's going to be a lot of under 55.5, I think the Huskies will struggle to score because their offense just isn't very good, and the Cougars are going to struggle to score because the Washington Huskies defense is really good.
It seems like a lot of points, as you stated, a rivalry game, a lot of points here. Washington is a work in progress right now, and they have the transfer from Arizona at running back, Loud, so I would expect a heavy ground attack from the Washington Huskies.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I see there. I've got another underplay, which is Notre Dame at Purdue. This is 45.5 points. Notre Dame's defense, again, outstanding, but their offense has been terrible. They looked awful against NIU in that embarrassing home loss. They couldn't move the ball at all. The quarterback looks lost. Purdue scored 49, allowed 0 points against Indiana State, and they've had 2 weeks off to prepare for this home game. Look, Notre Dame's just going to have trouble scoring until Notre Dame shows me that they can play offense. I think they're just going to continue to struggle to score, and Notre Dame's defense will keep teams from scoring. I may just play the unders all season long on Notre Dame until they get adjusted. 45.5 seems low in a college football game, but I just don't see a lot of scoring here. I'm on the under in this one as well.
I like your style coming in with some unders here. Everybody overs in college football, and there's opportunities because the numbers are set so high. I really like that Apple Cup one to the under. Now, speaking of the Pac-12, we've got the Civil War as well this week, guys. So what do you think, Loud, of the Civil War game? This one's in Corvallis. Listen, they're coming off a nice win against San Diego State, sort of lunch pail type of win. And the Ducks nearly got knocked off by Boise State last week. I watched every snap of that football game. We cashed the ticket. We'll pat ourselves on the back for this one because we took the Broncos plus the points. And in game, I jumped in on the Ducks money line, and we hit the over the game. So it was, it sort of went the way we thought it was going to go. But what was your takeaway, Loud, from Boise State going up and down the field on the Ducks last week? And what do you think about this Civil War game? Is this point spread too high? What can you take away from Oregon State's start to the season as well? What do you think about the Civil War?
Well, I think the Oregon Ducks have the same problem that they always have, which is they're just not a great defensive team. They're one of these college football teams that puts up a lot of points, but they tend to lose to the big programs because they don't really have a great stout defense. I don't think the Beavers are going to have that much trouble moving the ball on Oregon, and I think Oregon can score a ton of points. I'm not super comfortable with a pick in this game, but if I had to, I probably would lay the points with the Ducks.
Looking at the total, you just kind of nailed it here. Oregon are going to score, right? And I think the Beavers will be able to score enough. This total is a little light. It's an even 50 right now. Yeah, as you talked about, like the Apple Cup is 55.5. I'm surprised this isn't in that range, 54.5, 55.5, especially with this Ducks defense, as you mentioned. You're right, though. Lanning's a good coach. He's had a problem in one-score games and close games as well, and that, defense comes into this. I thought the Ducks were a little overrated this year, to be honest.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
He had 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. Quickest 120 minutes in sports talk and television. Man, it's going by fast tonight. Loud Esmond in the house with us. Thanks to Rick Saratella, Andrew McKinnis. The Wicked Wednesday is always packed. We didn't have a Thursday night game last week, but there is this week in college. Arizona State, another team that are surprising people. They were supposed to be bad. They haven't been. They just beat Wyoming. They beat Mississippi State this past week. They get Texas Tech. That should be a track meet game. Friday night, you get UNLV and Kansas, and Arizona and Kansas State. Some fun games on Friday night. on the college grid. Before we get into the NFL, though, Lau's got a couple of other games that he's looking at on the college board, and he lit it up last week. Great job, Lau, with the picks last week on the program. So what are you looking at? A couple of bonus games that you're looking at here.
You know, I've generally been a conservative college football bettor when it comes to big spreads, but I wasn't last week. I had Ole Miss minus 41. I also had Tennessee minus the points. Tennessee is minus 48 with Kent State coming in this Saturday. A lot of times for me, it's motivation is as important as ability when it comes to, do I believe this team is going to cover a high spread? Because Tennessee knows that the pollsters would love to take them down a notch or two, I believe they're going to be highly motivated to keep crushing people. So I don't mind the minus 48 against Kent State. Another team with a very big spread last week that I was on was Ole Miss, minus 43.5. They covered easy. They're minus 23.5 against Wake Forest. And you know what? This is the a-hole factor. Lane Kiffin's an a-hole. He'll run up the score whenever he can. So I love coaches that do that on overs. And then Colorado State, Colorado, I am on the Rams in this one, plus 7.5. Since Deion Sanders has been at Colorado, they've won by more than 8 points exactly twice. They're averaging 37.5 yards per game and 1.7 yards per carry rushing. The defense is below average. They're allowing 5.8 yards per play. Colorado State Rams can run the ball against the Buffalo, and I believe they cover in that one. All right, that wraps up my college picks.
A lot of pressure on Colorado this week. Florida State, another one, actually. It's another game, Florida State and Memphis, in which, early season pressure on the program. We remember last year, the Colorado State game, Notre Dame, another one, early season pressure on them. I think Michigan will be all right against Arkansas State, but they get USC next week. And if they're not better than they were against Texas, USC are going to do the same thing that Texas did to them. A lot of, this is college football. It's great. Georgia, for the record, too, the college game day this week is LSU and South Carolina. It's kind of a weird spot that they picked to go. So you got LSU with 7-point favorites in South Carolina, but a nighttime game here with Georgia. I just bring this up because you were talking about big point spreads loud. The Georgia Bulldogs, it's impossible to get in front of this team. They play with a chip on their shoulder all the time as well. Motivated from last year still. I know it's 24 points, but I've seen this script before with Kentucky getting absolutely murdered by good teams in prime time, guys. So I think the Georgia Bulldogs minus 24 are going to destroy Kentucky.
Yeah, I'd lean that direction in that game as well. Georgia looks absolutely fantastic. And, there are teams like that, like Texas, like Tennessee, like Ole Miss, that I'm not going to be afraid of big spreads on because they've been blowing people absolutely off the field.
And Tennessee
what about
as well.
Alabama and Wisconsin, Gabe? You had an opinion on that game? Seems, what is Wisconsin getting, 15.5? That's an interesting game.
I think the spread's a little high, to be honest.
I agree with you.
For Alabama to be going on the road here. It's a work in progress, this Alabama team with the new staff. I don't know what it is about South Florida that gives Alabama as many problems as they do. It's like South Florida allowed play Bama tougher than like Auburn do. You know what I mean? It's been 2 years in a row where it's like, man, this freaking South Florida Bull team, everybody was like, oh, they're going to kill them this time because of last year what happened. And it was like rinse and repeat again. I don't know what's up with that. Early season test here for Bama. I think they survive. I don't think Wisconsin are very good, though. That's my deal. I'm not a big Badger guy, Cam, so I don't really trust the Badgers. They're going to have a massive speed disadvantage in this football game. I don't like getting in front of Alabama. I like their offense. I like the bore. And in fact, if I'm looking at this game, I'm betting the over 50.5. Alabama can score, guys. I was disappointed, Lau. We didn't hit the over this past game. It was 64. Alabama were slow, and then they lit it up late in the football game. But I think Alabama will be able to score on anybody. And I don't think their defense is as good as it used to be under Saban anymore. Their defense is taking a step back. Total 50.5 here. That's my opinion, Cam. What do you think of the game, Lau? Bama and Wisconsin.
I do not like Wisconsin almost ever. I almost never bet on Wisconsin. But again, I think this point spread might be a little bit too high in this space. But I have an NFL storyline that, if you don't mind, I'd like to transfer to, which is quarterback play. Coming into the season, there was a lot of people that were very high on Caleb Williams. They were very high on Bo Nix. They're very high on Jordan Daniels. And also some old quarterbacks that Aaron Rodgers was going to somehow instantly come back from not playing any meaningful snaps really in about 2 years, unless you count the 4, and he was going to be just fantastic. And some of the point spreads in those games reflected that. Now, the Bears with Caleb Williams did cover that point spread. He had nothing to do with it. Nothing. Bo Nix, Jordan Daniels, and Jaden actually looked better. He had 88 rush yards, but look at the numbers on these rookie quarterbacks. Caleb Williams, completion percentage 48.3, 93 yards, 55.7 QBR. Bo Nix, 61.9 completion percentage, 138 yards, 47.5. So yeah, I'm just not a big believer in any rookie quarterbacks. I think a lot of people got fooled that they were going to be a lot better and the teams would be a lot better than they were. And also, I'm out on Aaron Rodgers and the Jets until he can show me he can play at a level again.
All right, we'll hit this. We'll wrap up with you on the other side. We'll get an NFL pick. Sounds like you want to keep on fading these rookie quarterbacks. Tough spot going into H-Town on Sunday night for the Bears as well.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was thinking! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
And 4 grabs in the first half for just over 30 yards, was injured, came back in briefly, and then had to be carted off.
We were pessimistic on Puka Nakua's injury to the same right knee, of that being a nothing, just a bursa, and that's it, as per Sean McVay. We felt there could be a small PCL component.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
You know what? What can one of these quarterbacks or wide receivers do for me this year to make a wager? It's got to be the running conditions there for Jaden Daniels.
In regards to Jaden Daniels, you know I was on him in regards to the Heisman Trophy. I actually think he's going to do it on the ground, through the air, 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, playing in Cliff Kingsbury's offense where he wants to spread it and throw it. I think he's going to put up dynamic numbers.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
All right, we got a couple more minutes left on the program here tonight. Loud Esmond in the house with us. So Loud, like I said, we got a couple of minutes. So what catches your eye this week in the NFL? You talked about the rookie quarterback struggling. Bo Nix, I think Bo Nix going to have a problem with his Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Right, the Steelers defense is good. Like when TJ Watt, people don't realize their win percentage and just how good TJ Watt is. People know about JJ Watt, but I don't know, TJ doesn't get love from the media or the public. But he's a freaking monster. The Steelers, you just talked, the Falcons, Kirk Cousins struggled. The Falcons offense struggled. Another quarterback coming off of surgery. But I think the Steelers, they're going to hang their hat on that. They're going to try to win a bunch of ugly football games. It's not like Justin Fields can light it up either, right? He can do just enough to move the sticks for them. It looks like he's going to be the quarterback against the Broncos. Damn, that total is light. But I can see Pittsburgh just sort of finding a way. I think the rookie quarterbacks do continue to struggle a bit. But what catches your eye, Loud, this week? NFL football. Thursday night,
right,
too,
so
we got the Bills and
I'm
Dolphins.
with you on that Steelers and Broncos game. I believe that the Steelers are good for at least one pick six or strip sack fumble recovery for a touchdown in the game.
Ooh,
I
defensive
like that
touchdown then, prop, huh? Get in on that.
Yeah. And then if you notice, Kirk Cousins took almost every snap in shotgun. That is not his game. Kirk Cousins, when he was with the Vikings and with the Commanders, he was an under center, hand the ball off or use play action guy. He's huge in play action. That's where he gets most of his big results. Why was he in shotgun formation the whole game? Because he can't move. I don't think he's healthy. Otherwise, why do you do that? And he looked confused and bad because that's not his game. He is a drop back passer. So I like the Eagles minus 6.5 in that Falcons game. Rams at the Cardinals, they're dangerous, the Rams, and I'm not worried about the Cardinals at all beating a lot of people this year, so minus 1.5 seems light. The Raiders just lost by 12 points to the Chargers, and now they go to the Ravens, and that line's only 9.5. I think that's a steal. I will fade the Raiders all season long, and then I'm not buying into the Patriots yet. I like the Seahawks minus 3 with the Patriots in that game.
Yeah, I'm glad you ended with that. I was going to ask you. Cam is a Seahawks fan. Cam, you like the Seahawks versus the Patriots as well?
I do, but I think it's going to be really tight. I think they're going to win 4-7 game. It's going to be real close to the number. Got to give the Patriots defense a lot of credit the way they played against the Bengals, but the Seahawks will get it done.
The New England Patriots defense last year in the second half of football games was the number one defense as far as points allowed concerned. Like I said, like Belichick's not there anymore, but Mayo can coach defense, and that's where they have their talent on the defensive side of the football. Loud, where can people find you online? Great stuff as always. We'll catch up with you next week. Where can people find you online?
You can find my picks at Winners and Winers. You can find my videos at the Winners and Winers YouTube channel, and that's where you can get my stuff. And thank you very much, Gabe. Love being on the show. Cam, nice to be on with you again.
Hey, we always enjoy Loud. Great stuff. Enjoy the games this week. And maybe I'll see you down there. I was all excited for Michigan and the Washington Husky game on October 5th, but I don't know, this might be could be a long year for Michigan. We're going to find out. Like I said, the Michigan Wolverines are like a lot of these teams, and I sort of think like the Jets. You know, we can pile on the Jets for last night's performance, but Aaron Rodgers hasn't played in 2 years. And San Francisco are really, really, really good. Like, they're just too good for the Jets aren't ready for that level of competition yet. And Michigan weren't ready either, right? There was all this talk, we're fine, we're the defending champion, it's going to be easy, it's going to be cool. You know, that's what they thought. Everyone else on the outside thought they were going to lose. And then they did lose. And you could see, though, in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, Michigan started to get it a little bit. Like, their younger players realized, okay, I got to be a step faster. We've got to just got to pick up the pace a little bit here. And then they did. They got Arkansas State this week. Okay, it's another final little tune-up, and then it gets real for Michigan next week. The USC Trojans roll into Ann Arbor, and it's funny, in a game in the offseason that I was not fearful of at all. I was like, USC. Now I'm like, oh God, USC are going to kill us. we're going to be in a lot of trouble, man. We're not better against. That's all I thought about after the Texas game. I was like, all right, whatever. One loss, fine. It's a new world. Don't worry about it. But you got 2 weeks for your next exam. And, it could get ugly if USC go in there. But great games coming up this week. Thursday night, we're going to be on. We got the Bills and the Dolphins game. We got that Arizona State, Texas State game. It'll be a fun night of football. And we'll be back with you with the Wicked Wednesday. Other than that, you're on your own later.